Hello, students and potential employees. By the way, my viewers, I know you are wondering, what is all this? What is all this? But actually, there are so many in the house. Today, I decided I'm not going to my studio, and I'm going to just use them as my background. My daughters, I am a father of three mature daughters. They came here the other day, a few days ago, and they had their own celebration. And we joined them as a family, and they came with all these things. Then they were almost full in this house, and basically, today I decided I'm not going to the studio. I'm just going to take the video here to be remembering this event. I'm telling you, my videographer is laughing because he knows why they were here. It was a good event, but a funny one. Thank you very much. Today I want to share with you about how to pass an interview. How to ensure that you beat all your competitors and you pass an interview. Yes, I talk about this from my own experience. I managed by the grace of God. It's not by might, not by power, but by the grace of God. I managed to rise through the ranks, and by the age of 41, I was a CEO. By the age of 41, I was a CEO. I found myself working with the Office of the President as an accountant. I left the Office of the President. I went to an audit firm as an audit assistant. From there, I joined Kenya Pipeline, where I was the Deputy Head of Internal Audit. From there, I joined BOC Kenya, where I became the audit manager. From there, I rose to become the Chief Internal Auditor at Nyeri Water and Sewerage Company. I rose to become the Commercial Manager at Nyeri Water and Sewerage Company. And then I became the CEO, Tana Water Services Board, where I retired. I stopped working, stopped being employed back in 2008. So I'm going to share my experience through the years in terms of how I made it that way. I passed all those interviews to become the best and to be recruited. And also, through the years, from the day I became the Deputy Head of Internal Audit in Kenya Pipeline, all the way to BOC Kenya, to Nyeri Water and Water Services Board, I have conducted countless interviews. And therefore I want to share with you my experience and give you, to guide you how to prepare for an interview before the interview day, during the interview day, and even after the interview day. As an accountant, what do you do to ensure that you get a job, the job that you so badly need? What do you do to ensure that you get the job you so badly need? Number one, you need to prepare before the interview day. You need to prepare before the interview day. Throughout my experience, throughout the years, it's like I realized that many students many potential employees just get a package of their papers and they dash to the interview room and they look very, very, very unprepared. My recommendation for you is you need to prepare very, very, very well for an interview. You must remember, by the time you're being interviewed, it means you have been shortlisted. There were many people throughout my career life. I realized every time, and even when I was now conducting interviews, once we advertised a position, you would get as many as 300 applicants or even 500 applicants, and you give that the applications are taken over by the Human Resource Department. And there is a criteria, there are minimum requirements, there is a criteria that is set to ensure that we reduce the numbers to a manageable level, which can be now managed at the interview level. And therefore, if you have been invited for an interview, it means you have already passed the first phase of interview because you have been shortlisted. And now you find that you may be having about 10 people out of the 300. Maybe 10 people have been shortlisted for interview. And therefore, you need to realize that the competition is becoming more fierce as you go towards getting the final person. Now, you prepare yourself before. the interview. Number one, you must research the company. You must research the company. You must understand the background of the company, the product it manufactures, the services it offers, the size, the industry, the branches, the clients. You know, you need to know about the company very, very well as an accountant, because remember, you are preparing financial statements for this particular company. If the company has is listed in the stock exchange, find out how it performs. Find out how it performs. Look for the financial statements. Study, understand the company. Understand the company. Research about the company very well. Understand their core values, the mission statement. If possible, get the mission statement. Get their strategic objectives if you can. Get their mission. Get their vision. And go to the website and try to understand that company very well. Go to social media, go to their annual report, try to understand the company very, very well. As you do that, look at the job description. Look at the job description. Look at the job description. Understand what is required of that job and ensure that you meet and exceed the requirements of that job. You meet and exceed the requirements of that job. Review the key relevant information that is required and be sure that you have everything, especially the minimum requirements. You meet the minimum, and the reason you have been shortlisted is because you meet the minimum requirements. Now, from that job, you are able to know possible area that you'll be asked. You know, the interviewers always organize themselves in terms of who will ask which questions. The person from the department always, or somebody who is well educated in your line of where the job is tasked to ask technical questions. Is asked to ask technical questions because it is him or her who is conversant with that area. Others may be asked about ethical, others about things about competence, things about self-drive, things about grooming. You know, the other people will be asked to ask all those other questions. But the technically qualified person will be asked to ask technical questions. And more often than not, those questions are usually prepared before time, but hidden from anybody else other than the interview panel, because the interview panel does not want that information to be leaked to the staff who are, to the people who are being interviewed. And therefore, you must, if the higher up the position, the more technical the questions will be. So you might find yourself being asked to talk about the provisions of International Financial Reporting Standards, like International Financial Reporting Standard 16. Give us a brief explanation of what it's all about. IAS 7, the one on the statement of cash flows. What does it tell us and what are the main provisions? The one on IAS 2, inventories accounting, what does it talk about? You may be asked about the financial statements. Yeah, give us 5 financial statements that the 5 components of published financial statements. And we know they are the balance sheet, the statement of changes in equity, the profit or loss account, statement of cash flows, and even the notes to the accounts. You may be, you will find them asking ethical questions. You find them asking about things like the code of conduct, compliance with code of conduct, whether you are registered with ECPAC, things like objectivity, professionalism, competence. All these kind of questions will be asked, and therefore you need to be ready. Always practice earlier. If I'm asked this, I will say this. If I'm asked this, I'll say this. Some of them will even ask you about internal control systems. How do you create a tight internal control system to ensure that we protect our assets and things are done right? Some people will ask you about taxation, basics about taxations, the things about the difference between depreciation and deductible allowances. Management accounting, things like budgeting, cost accounting, variance analysis, budgeting, and all these things you must prepare yourself based on the description of the question. The question will tell you, the description of the job description. The job description will always give you a hint of possible questions that will be asked. To give you a hint of possible questions on what you'll be asked. Then you need to prepare your documents early. The day or the 2 or 3 days before the interview is not the day to go looking for some certificate somewhere. No. You must have your updated CV, number one. You must have your updated application letter. You must ensure they are updated. Some students will just get, and some of us are very lazy. You don't even want to spend an extra coin. So you're getting an old CV and which is not updated, and you are bringing it to the interview panel. Now, you must ensure it is updated. You must ensure that it is proofread. Everything is grammatically correct. One of the most important things we want to find out is how good are your communication skills. If you cannot write a grammatically correct application letter, how will you be able to communicate with the staff in your department? So you need to get the updated CV, the application letter. You must ensure that your academic and professional certificates, your Form 4, your ATD, your CPA, if it's 1, 2, 3, whichever levels you have done, all those certificates and transcripts, you must ensure that they are there. You must be having your ID, maybe KRA PIN. In some sensitive jobs, you'll find yourself being asked to provide the good conduct, the certificate of good conduct from DCI, and therefore you need to have all of them way before that time. Some at more senior levels, you might find being asked to get the certificates from KRA. If there is any requirement that is given there in the job description, you must ensure that you have everything. You must have everything. Then you must keep them well organized in a clear file. You must keep them well organized in a clear file in a folder. Now the originals must be put together and the copies must be put together. After the interview is done, you must ensure that you pick your originals. Your originals are very, very important. You will need them over and over again. You may need the copies, but the originals, you must ensure that you carry your originals through after you're through with your interview. Now, I always encourage students and potential employees to practice common accounting interview questions. Common accounting interview questions. For instance, you find the first interviewer may just welcome you, and we are going to talk about how you get into the room and how you. You may find the interviewer is asking you, tell us about yourself. Tell us about yourself. We are not being told tell us how tall or how short or how fat or how, no. We know that, and those are not relevant questions. You must remember that we are asking you to tell us about your life history and how that history has prepared you for this job. Period. Remember, you're looking for a job. We want your history and how that history prepares you for this job. And therefore, more often than not, you need to start from Form 4, where you went to secondary school, Form 4, and what you scored, and then you come up this way. And you are giving us the training, the background, how you performed in Form 4, how areas that you are good in, you must always ensure that you capture. I was good in mathematics, and that's why I thought about doing accounting. I started doing the exams, and I did CPA 1 and 2 together in a sitting. That proves your competence. That proves your competence. If you can combine 1 and 2 in a sitting, wow, you are competent. You can be a hard-working person. You can be self-driven. You can be able to meet deadlines. Now, whatever you know you have done in the past and can help you now that you are getting this job, you need to tell us. When you tell us about yourself in a few minutes, Tell us about yourself. Don't tell us when you are born and who gave birth to you and where you are born and how you went to primary school. It's not relevant. It's not relevant. We want you to tell us about your history that has prepared you for this job. And therefore, you need to be very expectant of common interview questions. Common interview questions. You might find yourself being asked about bank reconciliations. How do you prepare a bank reconciliations? Describe a time you detected an accounting error and how you resolved your error. We really want to know how technical are you? What is your understanding of international financial reporting standards? What softwares are you familiar with? What accounting softwares are you familiar with? What are your goals as an accountant? How do you ensure confidentiality and ethical behavior as an accountant? And therefore, all these kind of questions, you must simulate, you must expect what you'll be asked, and you must train yourself how to answer that question, even when you are alone, how to answer those questions, even when you are alone, even before you go to the interview panel. Now, you must never forget that many times when you meet many people, you get intimidated, and times you panic, and you should now practice. Assume those people are there. Assume the people are there and they are interviewing you, and therefore you are facing them the way I'm facing you, right eyeball to eyeball, and you are answering their questions without panicking. This can be practiced way before. This can be practiced way before the interview day. It can be practiced way before the interview day. Before the interview, you must also train yourself how to ask smart questions. Smart questions, because you'll be, once they are through, always once a good interview team is through with interviewing you, they will always ask you, do you have any questions that you want to ask us? Do you have any questions that you want to ask us? Some of the young people would ask, how much salary do you pay? And then you find the young person is saying, okay, that cannot even pay for my rent, cannot fuel my car, cannot do ABC, it is too little. Did you ever know that your employer is not interested on how you're going to finance yourselves? The employer will only pay you based on the value you are adding to the firm. So if you feel that the salary is low, you must now explain why you feel that. And I've done that in the past. I will never forget. When I went to Nyeri Water and I was being interviewed for the position of chief internal auditor. And basically, I explained myself, my experience, my integrity, how I cannot be compromised, how I cannot fear, how I'm hardworking, and explained everything, how I'm diligent, how I fight to ensure that I hit deadlines at all costs. And, I'm selling myself. When you go there, you are proving to that interview panel that you are the best person. Actually, if they missed you, they are going to lose very, very greatly. So, after I was through with the interview, the kind of salary they were offering, I felt, no, it's too low. I was to be commuting from Nairobi to Nyeri every Monday, and then come back every Friday. And when I did my own computation, I realized the kind of money they were giving me, it was too small amount. So what did I do? I didn't tell them about my fueling of my car, my traveling, I told them, look, the value I'm adding to your company, the losses I will help you save, the kind of burden I'll carry on your behalf. And basically, my position, I was being interviewed for the position of internal auditor. When the MD, when I left, and I told the MD I cannot take this kind of a salary simply because I feel the value I'm adding to the company is by far way much more than what you are offering. And it's like, for me, I'm not going to take this job. And when I went back to Nairobi, and after 2 weeks, the MD called me. And the MD told me, I want you to come again. And actually, I almost refused to go back because I was feeling the kind of salary they were offering was not commensurate with my skills, my experience, my exposure. And that's why also you need to learn to talk. If you are married, talk to your husband. talk to your wife. And I talked to my wife. And my wife told me, look, you have nothing to lose. Just go. If they don't give you the job, you will come back and we don't have to. We don't have to worry. And that's what I did. I went to Nyeri, and wow, the position had been upgraded from that of an internal auditor to the chief internal auditor. And that's how I joined Nyeri Water. They were able to upgrade because they felt that the kind of person I was the kind of person they needed. They needed the kind of confidence I had, the kind of integrity I had, the kind of hard work I had, the kind of diligence I had, and that's how I went to Nyeri Water and Sewerage Company. And it's from Nyeri Water and Sewerage Company, when people heard about how I work, they now fished me to become the CEO of Tana Water Services Board. So what am I trying to say? Learn how to ask smart questions. Learn how to ask smart questions. For instance, you can ask them, which accounting system do you use? Which financial accounting system do you use? How is performance measured in your finance department and even in your company? And what are the main challenges that the company is facing? And what are the strategies that are you using to overcome these challenges? So you're basically showing them that you are interested with the farm, and your desire is not just to get money from the farm. You have an interest in the farm. You want to be engaged in the farm. You want to be part of the solution. You want to be part of the team that will take the farm to the next level. Remember, we are still preparing for our interview. So you are preparing yourself to the questions you're going to ask. When you are asked by the interviewers, do you have any questions? Don't go start speaking during the interview. That's when you are thinking, okay, what questions do I ask? No. Get a list of questions and you ask one or two, a maximum of 2 or 3. Don't go beyond 3. There will be too many. There might be too many. Then you must prepare on how to appear and the logistics before the date of the interview. You must prepare the logistics and how you will appear before the date of interview. You must be smart. You must be dressed smartly. You must be smartly dressed. You must be smartly dressed. You must be smartly dressed, depending on the kind of a job you are being interviewed for. For this particular case, I'm talking about an accountant. I'm talking about an accountant. Now, on the other side, you must also learn the dress code of the firm. There are some firms whose dress code is smart casual. Others are official. The way I look, they want you to be in a tie. They want you to be in a tie and a coat. And you must try to find out how is their dress code and prepare yourself to go well aligned in terms of the dress code. Now, prepare yourself. Your appearance and your grooming is very, very, very important in an interview. Organize, coordinate your logistics, how you will go there. If it's far and you're using public means, please, prepare yourself. Be there very early, even if you are in the neighborhood, about 1 hour early, so that you are sure that between 20 and 30 minutes before the set time, you are already there. You can imagine a scenario whereby you are arriving late. You are already sending the very, very long signals. If you can arrive late for an interview, then you might even arrive late in heaven. Yeah? God has called you home and you are refusing, you are arriving late. So we are saying, please, plan your logistics early enough. Don't tell us that we had a problem with there was jam. There was surely, sincerely speaking, you can't tell us about a jam when you are attending an interview. Even if it means I give a very good example. When I was going for an interview in Nyeri, I would actually leave Nairobi at around 4. I would leave Nairobi at around 4, and by 7, before they have even started anything, I would already have gotten to Nyeri and I've done a lot of my things. Actually, I would get in Nyeri almost before dawn, and I'm actually waiting in those hotels in Nyeri, so that by the time I'm required to get to report to to the company, I would actually get a very short distance there. I would drive a very short distance to get to the company. So please don't give yourself any possible reason to tell us that we had logistical problems. No, it will not be taken. As a matter of fact, that is one of the reasons why I should not recruit you. If you be coming late and you be giving me reasons why you never arrived on time, that is wrong. That is wrong. Then you must prepare yourself to dress professionally. Dress professionally. You must have formal business attire. But like I said, ensure that you find out from the firm how. Don't talk to them directly. You have an indirect way of getting the information to be able to. You get their dress code. You get their dress code, but do it indirectly. Don't go there to ask the firm how do you. You can get employees, the current employees, or people who have business with the farm, or people who transact with the business. Or I give a good example. Nyeri Water and Storage Company is a water producing and selling company, and therefore any customer in the water sector can tell you how they are. This is the best water company in Kenya and even in the region. So basically, get the formal business attire for the farm. Get the formal business attire for them. Then groom yourself neatly. Groom yourself neatly. Even if you are walking, carry a shoe brush. Carry a shoe brush. Put it in your bag. When you get there, you might be having a lot of dust on the shoes. Brush your shoes before getting into the compound. Look smart. Look smart. Let your shoes look smart. Tidy your hair. Tidy your hair. Please don't come to be. Sorry to tell you this. I trained a young man. I will never forget this young man. I don't want to mention his name. This young man was very bright as an accountant. Very bright, very bright. But he's coming to class in Rasta hair. I don't know how you call it. Rasta, real Rasta. And I'm asking him, seriously, are you lost? Is this your profession? Are you sure that you get somebody who will employ you with this kind of hairdo? And fortunately, over time, the young man on his own, he decided to do away with it. So I'm not saying it is wrong, but it is the wrong attire, it's the wrong attire, it's the wrong grooming for somebody who wants to become an accountant. Why? Because you might find yourself dealing with very, very many people. You might find yourself dealing with a section of people, and therefore, you may need to dress in a way you can be able to serve everybody across the board without being a problem to that person. Without being a problem to that person. So you ensure that you dress. I want to insist. Your dress code is very, very important. Like we're going to see during the interview, we say that the first impression is the lasting impression. My word for interviewees is this. Your first by the time you have been with the interviewers for the first 15 minutes, most of them have already made up their mind whether they are picking you or they are not picking you. And the first thing is your dress code. The first, we say in customer care that the first impression is the lasting impression. The way you walk in tells the people a lot about who you are. So ensure that your shoes are clean, your hair is tidy, you have minimal accessories. You don't walk into the whatever with your earphones and everything, and it's wrong. It is wrong. Now you must know before the interview date. You must know the interview venue. You must know the route. You must estimate the travel time. You must also simulate all the possible challenges that you might face on the way to ensure that you have dealt with all of them, and ensure that you are in the interview room between 20 and 30 minutes. You have already arrived. You are being ushered in. You are being shown where to wait. 20 to 30 minutes. The interviewer should not come to wait for you. It is you to wait for the interviewer. That's what you do before the interview. But what do you do during the interview? What do you do during the interview? Number one, I like telling my interviewees, never forget this, never forget this, never forget this. The reason the interview panel has stopped all they were doing. At times I would be there, myself, the managing director, the technical manager, the commercial, the finance manager, and the specialist from your department. The reason we are there is because you have a problem. We need an employee. We need an employee. And the reason you have come You need a job. Both of us have needs. Both of us have needs. So there is nobody who is doing the other a favor. So don't panic. Don't panic. You are part of a solution to the farm. You are part of a solution to the farm. So don't panic. Don't panic. Refuse to panic. Refuse to panic. Many people attend interviews. Remember I told you the first 15 minutes are very determining. They are very determining. Many people attend interview, you panic, and even if you are the best, you end up now being disqualified because you panicked. We always say the first impression is the lasting impression. The first impression, when you enter into the interview room this way, the first impression that you give is the lasting impression. They start judging you almost immediately after you walking in. I can see that. I have done that for many countless times when I've conducted interviews. The first 15 minutes, they are almost through with you. At times, they even reduce the time they want to spend with you because they know that this one is already done. Many interviewers, especially when you're doing quite a number, you may find, I remember there were times I would find myself, we are conducting an interview for the technical manager, we are conducting the interview for the finance manager, we are conducting the interview for the human resource manager, several interviews, and therefore you are time constrained. You are time constrained. So immediately you walk in, there are times that, after the first 15 minutes, you have done the formalities, the self-introduction, the way you are talking, your grammar, your English, your everything, the way you are dressed, the way you are arriving, the way you look shy, the way you don't look confident. Within the first 15 minutes, we actually start now moving faster in terms of the other questions because we have already disqualified you. We don't want this person. And then on the flip side, you'll find somebody and say, first 15 minutes, wow, this could be the person we are interested in. And therefore you find the event is taking much more time with you. When you find the interview panel taking much more time with you, you must see it as a possible good sign that you are doing well. Now, greet the interview panel confidently. You are able to know what they want. At times, the panel is a few people, and therefore they may even want you to greet you. If they extend a hand, it means they want you to greet you. So greet them, give them a handshake that is well done. Now, so at times the panel is very large, and therefore you may not need to waste time and they will be telling you, please welcome, have your chair, and give us your documents, and then introduce yourself to us, tell us who you are, and that kind of a thing. Or they welcome you, they tell you where to sit. When you're being told where to sit, it means that you're not doing the physical handshake. If you find them stretching their hand, they want you to do the physical handshake. So you're able to quickly detect what does this panel want. What does this panel want? And do exactly that. Smile. Tell them thank you. Tell them thank you. Whatever they are telling you, ensure that you are telling them thank you. Now, address the panel members respectively. Address them respectively. Tell them, as you respond to they ask you to anything, just talk to them as sir, madam, mister. People are very happy when you remember their names. But remember that, and therefore when they're introducing themselves quickly, if I were you, I would quickly be writing the names, and basically as I look at them, when you remember the names of the interview panel, never make the mistake of calling somebody the name he or she is not. But when you have the name, it's very important when you address the person by his name. But remember, in an interview panel, we always address the chair. Mr. Chairman, I think ABCD. Mr. Chairman, I think ABCD. Mr. Chairman, I think it's Madam Chair. I think ABCD. Madam Chair, I think ABCD. But when you really want to refer to somebody, you are saying, Mr. Kagodo said this and that. Mr. George said QRST. There are some things that, I like telling my interviewees that at times what you think I'm looking for is not what I'm looking for. At times I ask very funny questions. And I asked I used to run a college in Thika, and I used to ask ladies, do you have a boyfriend? I would ask the gentleman, do you have a girlfriend? And you know, the person thinks that I want to know whether the person has a boyfriend or a girlfriend. That's not what I'm after. I want to know whether you are shy. I want to know whether you are shy. I want to know whether you are self-confident. I want to know, you know, how you behave when if you meet with your managing director. How would you relate with him? Will you be shy? Will you be scared? Will you cow down? And I want to see whether you are able to communicate, whether you can be able to address people face to face without being shy, without being scared. You know, that's very, very important. So communication and presentation is very, very important. You must train yourself to speak clearly and professionally. Clearly and professionally. You must train yourself to listen attentively before answering questions. There is nothing that is as bad as when I ask a question, but you are answering a different question. You must be careful to ensure that you are listening very attentively and you are answering very, very correctly what you've been asked. I remember at one point in time, I would ask an employee if there was a major water pipe burst at the intake, between the intake where we get the water and the treatment plant where we treat the water, and therefore we don't have water. We basically don't have water in the whole of Nyeri town. There is a major water burst. What would you do? And the person tells me that I would go there. Yeah, going there is okay. But what is it? As a good customer care person, what would you do? And you realize that this burst must take about 24 hours before water is restored. One of the things you should do immediately is to communicate to your customers. We have a major problem doing A, B, C, D, and that's what we are doing. So if you are not able to answer those kind of questions correctly, you find yourself losing a lot of points. Be sure that you are answering the right question. Be sure you are answering the right question. Then be concise. Be concise. Avoid long and off-topic narratives. Avoid long and off-topic narratives. Be very concise and to the point. As an accountant, there are things that we call code of ethics. We are expected to be very good in integrity, competence, professionalism. So as you discuss everything, you must never forget that there is a meeting deadline, teamwork, attention to detail. All these things, you must remember that. Ask yourself, what does the interviewer want to know about me? He wants to know about your strong points, not your weaknesses. Strong points are not your weaknesses. So try to bring out your strengths as much as yes. Your strong points by showing you a person of integrity, a person who is professional, a person who is objective, a person who is independent, as somebody who can be very good in teamwork, have a person who has attention to details, somebody who has remember, by the way, the papers tell us what exams you have passed. They may even tell us your experience, but they may never tell us about your character. And one of the most important things that we want to get during the interview is your character. Are you self-driven? Are you hardworking? Are you a person of integrity? Are you a team player? Do you have attention to details? How is your integrity? You know, those are the kind of things. So as you answer your questions, you must always remember to try to emphasize these qualities to us, so that you are winning us, you are winning us, you are winning us. Now, you must also show your technical competence and ethical behavior. So, when answering questions about accuracy and transparency in reporting, professionalism, ethical behavior, diligence, self-drive, you must remember the code of ethics for the accountants. You must remember all these things, and you must ensure that you are telling the interviewers what they want is the qualities of the person they are looking for the job. And like I said, at the end of the interview, you will find them asking you, do you have any questions for us? Do you have any questions for us? So as I said, you must learn to ask intelligent questions. They want to know how much interested you are in the farm. How much interested you are in the farm. And maybe you can ask them, what is the next step in your recruitment process? A very good, a very intelligent question. Now, what skills are most valued in this accounting position? How is the finance department structured? How is performance management and evaluation done in the accounting department? How soon do you need somebody to fill the position? Now, this kind of questions shows that you are serious in your engagement with the firm. You really are interested. You have an interest in the firm. And when you are leaving, ensure that you carry your original certificates. Ensure that you carry your original certificates. Definitely, they will tell you about they will tell you about how they are going to communicate to those who succeed in the interview. Now, something very, very important: the issue of salaries. The issue of salaries. Some organizations, and more often than not, the interviewers, and I remember there was a time I was interviewing a gentleman. I was interviewing a technical manager position, and we asked about the salary. What is your minimum salary expectation? Employees are very interesting. You know, there are some organizations that have a salary structure. There are some organizations that have a salary structure. And therefore, it means that our CEO, the salary is between this and this. Our technical manager salary is between this, and our finance manager is between this and this. So it has a ceiling. It has a ceiling. It has a ceiling. And therefore, that's why I say you need to look for, do background check. How do they pay this kind of a position? Do background check. Now, if you give a salary expectation which is too low, it could be you're passing a signal that the value you are giving us is too low. Again, if you give a salary expectation that is 2-3 times what we pay for that position, you are telling us to disqualify you based on your salary expectation. Period. Yeah? If the position salary is 150,000 shillings and you're asking us for 450,000, 3 times, surely, where do we get the money to pay you? And if, you know, based on the structure, some companies that is paid in the public sector. They are completely structured. Completely. I say this because I worked with Kenya Pipeline. I know they have a specific structure for salaries. But I worked also with BOC Kenya. BOC, it depends on your ability to negotiate by proving to yourself that really you are the kind of person that the firm needs. But you must also realize that you cannot be paid better than the MD, or even you must be within the range. You must be within the range. The need for background check is very, very, very important. What is your salary expectation? You may give us a very, very low salary, which makes us to feel, okay, this person may not be the kind of, the value he's adding is too small. Or you may end up saying 2, 3, 4 times what you can pay. So you will find yourself being disqualified. On a number of occasions, I have disqualified, I have failed to recruit employees, basically because of the salary. You discuss with them and you realize, however, even the lowest. And remember the question, what is your minimum salary expectation? That question means, below that you can't take the job. Below that, when you say minimum, it means the salary below which you can never take that job. You need to have that kind of, especially as you start now craving. You have a job and you're looking for a better job. You have a job, you're looking for a better job. You need to know your minimum salary expectation. You need to know where you can say, okay, fine, below this, I can't take the job. That is very, very, very important. But be careful again, don't lower it too low. Don't take it too low. Now, we are through with the interview. Let's assume that you have passed the interview because you have learned how to pass an interview. Now, immediately after the interview, once you are through with the interview, please don't go panicking again. No. You have had a time to learn. It is a time to learn. You have learned a lot. Even if you are not taken, you have learned a lot. You have learned how to go about the interview. You know where you went wrong. You know where you panicked. You know where you said the right things. You know where you said the wrong things. You are learning. You are learning the ropes. You remember what I told you, that I have changed jobs several. My first job was Office of the President. I went to Gedongo and Company Certified Public Accountants. I went to Kenya Pipeline. I went to BOC Kenya. I went to Nyeri Water and Sewerage Company. And finally, I left former employment when I was being employed by Tana Water Services Board. And therefore, I have this kind of experience that once you have done the first interview, there are things that you learn. There are things that, and one of the things I learned is that both myself, the potential employee, and the employer, we are in need. And therefore, there is nothing to panic about. But my work is to present my best self. I'm supposed to actually to show the panel. If you don't pick me, you are in for trouble. I'm the solution. I'm the medicine for your problem. I'm the cure. I'm the best person for this position. That's what you can't do that when you are panicking. You can only do that when you are very, very confident. And you are showing the skills they need. You are showing how much you have, more than enough of what they need in you. They are looking for a resource. They are looking for something we call the human resource. They are looking for a human resource. And therefore, once you are through with the interview, you must do something we call SWOT analysis. What were my strengths? What were my weaknesses? What are the opportunities I failed to exploit? And what threats did I meet along the way? That way, you become a better potential interviewees tomorrow. You become a better potential interviewees tomorrow. Then, maybe within 24 hours, do a short professional email, and you are thanking them. You are thanking them. You're telling them, thank you for the opportunity to interview, for the interview, for the position of an accountant in your firm. I appreciated learning about your organization and how I could contribute to your finance team. I look forward to hearing from you. Leave it at that. Leave it at that. Stay prepared. Stay prepared. If you are successful, you again need to review the company policies, the accounting systems, tax laws before starting. If not selected, ask politely for feedback and keep improving. Continue building your technical and soft skills, especially on areas you fell short of. For instance, maybe they were asking about international financial reporting standards, and you just did financial accounting, and you never studied the international financial reporting standards in details. Maybe you were asked about accounting software. You don't know QuickBooks, you don't know Sage, you don't know, you didn't have that kind of an experience. You now improve yourself. You improve yourself. But you must stay positive. You must stay positive. You must refuse the disqualification of the past interview to define you. To define you. It's unfortunate. I keep telling young people, it's unfortunate that people say that there are no jobs. But what they are doing to look for a job actually falls far below expectation. I like telling students this way, that I graduated from University of Nairobi in 1990. 1990. And I remember very well, within around those years, 1990, I wrote 100 application letters. 100 application letters. Those days, we were writing the letter, put it in an envelope, you send it to post office, so the post office can deliver to the company where you are applying for a job. These days, it is emailing. I was talking with a young man the other day, and I was asking him, how many letters have you done? And he's done a diploma in disaster management. I was asking him, how many letters have you done? And guess what? He tells me he has done about 10. And he's really talking about how much there are no jobs. Yeah? I remember back in 1990, I wrote about 100 letters, and I was putting them in an envelope, and I was paying. I was paying because you have to buy the envelope, you got to buy the paper to write on, you got to buy stamps, and you go take it to the post office. And guess what? My first and second jobs, I got them through those applications. My first and second jobs, I got them through those applications, and life has never been the same again. After the second job, office of the president, my first, yes, my second and third jobs. After I got the job with the office of the president as an accountant, my job is in Gidongo and Company Certified Public Accountants, and my job in Kenya Pipeline. The job in Gidongo and Company Certified Public Accountants, and the one in Kenya Pipeline as the deputy head of internal audit. That is how I got those jobs. I got them from those applications. Today, there are very many places you need to look for jobs. We talk about LinkedIn. We talk about the newspapers. Some of them are physical, others are online. There are so many places we got jobs. And more still, ladies and gentlemen, there are countless jobs online. But unfortunately, many of our young people are very allergic to online. I have a young man, a friend of mine, who graduated the other day with a degree in English and literature. I keep pleading with him, go online and try to get jobs online, teaching English literature, teaching jobs online. And he keeps telling me, give me some, reasons why you find the person is not interested. And we are only complaining that there are no jobs. I want to repeat to somebody, there are very many jobs. Finally. You may do quite a number of interviews and are not getting a job. One of the things I keep telling young people, you say that there are no jobs. But I like telling people, the only jobs that are not there, they are the jobs with the papers you have. The more papers you acquire, the more competent, the more you are able to get yourself a job. I know of young people who are BCom, they are CPA, they are CPS, they are certified financial analysts and masters, and I'm telling you, the demand is so high for those kind of papers. So get more papers, prepare yourself to rise gradually. The other thing is, many employers want somebody with experience, and many young people keep telling me, where do you want us to get experience from if you don't give us a job first? Please. I like giving a very good example. One day, I took my firstborn daughter to train as a driver. But when she came home and she had the driving license, one day she dared take her mother's car. And the mother told her, "Where? You're not taking my car. You are not taking my car." And she was very firm about it. You know why? Who wants to risk with somebody who has no experience? Who wants to risk? Who wants to give his car out and it is smashed the first day? Who wants? Who wants to give somebody who does not know a petty cash voucher, a payment voucher, who wants? And what did I do to my daughter? I started giving my daughter my car to drive, but I also never allowed her to drive alone. I would drive with her over and over again until she became a professional, experienced driver, and she started carrying me. And the more she did, today, the mother is usually carried by the daughter. She doesn't want to drive when she's with her daughter. Why? Because she has experience. Please look for experience. Even if it means working for somebody to get experience, please do it. Go to an audit firm. Work, get attachment. Work as though you are employed. I want to submit to you a letter from that firm that says you have done A, B, C, D, and you have worked it so well. It works miracles. Thank you very much. Wish you the best.
Hi, if this video has helped you in any way, kindly take a second to show your support to what we are doing for you. Be part of the growing Accounting Made Simple family. Click subscribe, like, share, and comment, and hit that notification bell so you're always first to know when new content drops.